Okay, this experience happened on a Sunday morning, I think it was, around April 2nd. And this isn't the first time they've given me a virtual reality experience with a tornado in it. They used to do that a lot when I was younger. I can't remember the last one they gave me before this one, but yeah, they gave me quite a few with tornadoes in them. Like, they were virtual reality. I remember one long time ago where I was hiding under the car, and you know, I was in an altered state of consciousness. I was under a car, and it wasn't a dream. It was, you know, just a normal virtual reality experience that they give me. At the time, though, of course, I didn't know aliens were giving me all this stuff. But yeah, okay, so I think I did have tornado on the brain, or I talked about tornado or something like that before this experience, a couple days before. I'm pretty sure I did. I can't remember why or whatever. But a few days after this experience, there really was a bad storm and a couple small tornadoes in surrounding areas. But yeah, they like to pick recent stuff from my brain. And a couple days before this experience, I think I was at work or something, and I was thinking about tornadoes or talking about them or something. I can't remember. But anyway, Joel, I'm pretty sure Joel gave me this experience because he's always putting black people in my experiences. And I know his style well. And he always puts a lot of sex. Except this time he didn't turn me into a hermaphrodite. I think Joel is my, I think he can be considered my alien handler. I've always heard that term, you know, like other researchers, they'll talk about handlers. It's like I'm thinking, okay, well maybe Joel is my handler, because he always comes to give me tons and tons and tons of experiences, like tons. He comes forward like 90-something% of the time when I ask for an experience. It was so funny. Let's see, it was a few days, I think it was after this experience, so around the 5th or something like that. I was asking him, you know, come give me some sex or whatever, to like, arouse me or whatever, and, yeah, he did. He gives me whatever I want. I'd rather have that kind of sex than, well, you know, try to look at porn and shit. So I love, it's much more fun messing with the aliens, man. He gives me whatever I want. Joel does. And I'm trying to think now how it went down, but I can't really talk about it because it's too embarrassing. But, I'll have to rack my brain, but, yeah, he gave me exactly what I asked for. But like I said, I'd have to rack my brain because it was about a week ago. But I mean, I can't talk about it anyway because it's too embarrassing. But, and like I say, sometimes you'll talk to them and they, you know, they just don't connect for whatever reason that morning. But like one time, I don't know who it was. I mean, it's probably Joel, or it could have been another reptilian. I don't know. It's like I wasn't asking for anything. And they tampered with me. Either one, I think it was one being, but, you know, could have been more or whatever. And I woke up, you know, but I was conscious of everything that just happened. I woke up and I was just like, what the hell? I wasn't even asking for anything, you know. But, yeah, sometimes they'll screw with you sexually even if you don't ask for it. You know? But I can't elaborate because that would be too embarrassing too. Okay, so anyway, see, I know all these areas well. I lived there 6.5 years in Kansas City, and I went every freaking place in Kansas City at that time. You know, all the suburbs, everywhere, all around Kansas City. I know that place well, because I lived there 6.5 years. And I went downtown a lot, which Crown Center is downtown. You know, the plaza is close to downtown. But for whatever reason, Joel places me at, this was everything. It was virtual reality, it was astral travel, and it was out-of-body experience. But it was all under a lucid, dreamy kind of state. I still need to do a video and explain the differences with all that. But anyway, okay, so Joel places me in the Crown Center area, in a big tall, where there was a bunch of big tall buildings. Like, he placed me like right there in that area, which is just not far from downtown. Well, it is downtown, I think, but where all the more surplus of big buildings are, Crown Center is a little ways up from there. So he puts me in that area. I was at work, and I used to work there. Not in that building, but I used to work in... I actually used to work in Kansas, but several times we would actually work over on the Kansas City side and have some meetings in some of the big tall buildings. I can't remember why, but 2 or 3 times. Well, one time I actually trained in one of those buildings over on the Kansas City side, and a couple times down the street in Kansas, we had some meetings in a big taller building. I can't remember why, but we did. And so anyway, but I normally worked, in Kansas. But Joel places me in a big tall building, a work building, where I was working, and I think I was on the very top level. It seemed like I was on either the 12th level or 14th, something like that, 12th floor, 14th floor, but I was in whatever the very top floor was. I'm not sure how many floors is in a normal tall building, but, I know why maybe he picked the 12th building, because I was on the 12th floor, and that wasn't the tallest floor, I don't think, I can't remember, but when I was in St. Paul, Minnesota, I was on the 12th floor. I can't remember if that was the tallest floor, but yeah, so I think that's why somehow he made me believe I was on the 12th floor, but in the scenario, I felt like I totally was, on the tall, the last floor, which would have been the 12th, the last floor. There wasn't any floors above me. And that's what I felt like anyway. Okay, so anyway, there was a lot of we were in training. And see, like I just said, we trained before in real life over on the Missouri side for several weeks when I was in training back in 2000. So I was in training, and there's a bunch of other employees, many employees. The classroom was pretty damn big. And there was at least, 40, 50 people, coworkers. And this is how he started the experience. He placed me there. How many minutes? Yeah, he placed me there on the tallest floor in that building, in that work building that I worked. I didn't work there. I trained there for the time being. And I remember even it's like the instructors were giving us a test, and it's like I was looking down on a piece of paper, and they were like instructing us to do stuff. But like I say, it wasn't like college or anything. They used to give me a lot of college experiences too. They haven't in a while, but this was literally work. I was at work, but I was in another building, and I was in training. And so anyway, so then came a break. They gave us a break. The instructors gave us a break, and let me think. They gave us a break, and there was some music. They started playing. It's like during this. Okay, it's kind of weird, because during this break, because this isn't like real life. During the break, it was almost like we were having a dance party. A little dance party, which made no sense, because in real life, if you work at an office and then you have a break, they're not gonna, they're not. You're not going to have a little dance party, But anyway, so music started playing when we were on break. And then there was a white man with glasses, and I looked at him very clearly, and he looked at me. There was 2 black women. that was dancing over on my left side, and they were very, 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 very exotic. And they started staring at me. And one of the really exotic ones, you know, she looked at me, and she was like, "Do you want to dance?" And I was like really shy and stuff, and I was like, "No, that's okay." And I kept thinking, well, I hope she doesn't think I'm like weird or prejudiced or anything. But that's just not like, you know, the beings can resonate with you well, and they know your personality well. And they know that that's not my style to like slow dance with somebody or whatever, you know. I mean, I used to like freestyle dance at clubs or whatever, but not like slow dance and shit. Or maybe a couple times, but I didn't really like doing that. So anyway, but the thing that I noticed immediately was these black women. I looked at their skin, and they had the most, I mean, this isn't the first time they put, I mean, black people in my scenarios that do not exist in this dimension. I mean, they're so beautiful, so exotic. But first thing I noticed was the skin tone. The skin tone was like of a brown, the most beautiful brown that I have never seen before. And so smooth and flawless. And two, you know, the reptilians, they always put people, I mean, not always, but lots of times they put people in my scenarios. I mean, they act so non-human. I mean, what I mean by that is, like, you know, like there's no freaking bullshit human energy about them, no negativity, no fucking flaky fuckingness about them. I mean, in this dimension, this whole dimension is fucked up. You know, everybody is flakiest motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You know, but in all these other scenarios, I mean, I guess you could call them dimensions. I mean, they may be artificial dimensions, but there's still other dimensions. Whether it's lucid dream state or whatever. I mean, time and time again, you know, it's like I literally, when they give me these lucid dreams or out-of-body experiences, virtual reality experiences, lots of times I feel like I'm totally in a different dimension. And the people they place in them, I mean, they are so non-human. I mean, there's nothing evil about them, nothing vindictive about them. They are like all loving, almost like an alien, almost like, well, no, I'm sorry, not. Some of the aliens aren't like that, but what I mean is the almost like the angelic ETs that give me this artwork in my backyard, like them, like all fucking loving. The aliens will put, and of course the alien themselves, you know, like Joel, he's not exactly like that. You know, he's more, these freaking reptilians, they're more human than anything. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're in another dimension, they're more human than anything. But they freaking, I mean, they can, why do you think Carla Turner says masquerade of angels? Because they can act like an angel. They can put people in your scenarios that act like a freaking angel. I mean, they're human, but, you know, they'll place, you know, like these two black women. They're so non-human. It's, you know, they don't act like anybody of this 3D dimension. I mean, it's amazing. And this isn't the first time they place all these, you know, people in my scenarios that are just like beautiful, all loving, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I don't know if it's just me or what, but I mean, all my life, like, I've never gotten along with anybody. And I mean, I'll even meet enlightened people, and they are still the most flakiest motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I say, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I see all. And, okay, so anyway, so after, this beautiful black woman asked me to dance, I said I didn't, you know, want to because I was kind of shy or whatever, you know. And like I say, in my head, she didn't, you know, take it as being rude or anything, but I was thinking in my head, I hope she doesn't think I'm rude or being prejudiced or anything. And like I say, the reptilians, Joel, he puts a lot, well, there's other beings too, that also put a lot of black people in my scenarios. But, so anyway, okay, after, I rejected her, this man, he was another coworker that came, and I hadn't recognized, a lot of times I recognize people in my scenarios, but this man, I didn't recognize him. He looked maybe about my age or a little bit older. He started dancing with her. Since I rejected her, this white man started dancing with this beautiful black woman, and he started dancing with her, and he started just really staring at me, and I started staring at him, and I saw him super clearly, you know, and he had glasses on, like studious looking glasses on, and he was just looking at me like I don't know what he was trying to say, like, see what you're missing? Like he was having fun and everything, but I didn't recognize him at all. So he was just somebody that the aliens created. But he was also a coworker. And like I say, I was in training. And when they gave us our break, that's when we started having the little dance party. You know, because, you know, we would get like our 15 or 20-minute breaks. So sometimes they would give us... when we were in training, sometimes they would give us about 40 or 50 minutes, sometimes an hour, but sometimes only like 45 minutes. Okay, so anyway, after that, okay, let me think. After that, I ended up on the ground, you know, on ground level. Now, when I got to ground level, you know, Joel just placed me there. Like I didn't go in an elevator or anything like that. So after I was way up there on the 12th level, after the party, Joel places me on ground level. And it was cloudy and storming. And, but like I say, I don't know how I got to ground. And then I immediately looked up. And like I say, I was on ground level at that time. I immediately looked up and I saw, and actually, I mean, it looked exactly like this. Exactly. Except it was higher in the sky. Well, yeah, because see, this picture, it looks like the tornado is on the ground. But, yeah, see, because there's a house right there. But in the scenario, this tornado, it actually looked exactly like this. And it was tilted that way, except it was high in the sky, you know, around the 12th level. And so I looked up in the sky and I saw this big tornado, you know, shooting over to the over to the right. And it did not hit the building that I was just in, but the building that was the same height building that was like, I can't remember if it was like to the side or in the back of the building that I was training in. But there were also other employees in that second building on the same level, the 12th level that a different building, but on the highest floor. And the tornado, it wiped that floor. I mean, it just completely demolished the whole floor. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like all those people are freaking dead. All those employees are dead. I know they are. Because it totally demolished all of that whole floor. You know, the tornado apparently, you know, it didn't come to ground level. It just stayed up high. And so but it did not take down our building. Nobody was hurt in my building. And, but like I say, it did totally demolish all of that second building where the employees were also training. And like I say, in my head, I was just thinking like, oh my God, like, and of course the aliens already programmed all that stuff in my head. I was just thinking like, oh my God, all those employees are dead. I know they are. There's no way they could have lived through that. Because like I say, it demolished that whole, you know, 12th, 11th level or whatever, the whole top floor. Okay, so then after the tornado, I started walking along this flooded walkway. And it was much bigger than this, much wider. And there was a bunch of taller buildings, you know, straight ahead. It's almost like I was in a little courtyard at that point. Yeah, so it's kind of like I was in a little courtyard. Like I say, there was a bunch of taller buildings, like, you know, to my right, to my left, you know, kind of at a distance. And straight ahead of me. And I was walking along. And up ahead, I saw like the most weirdest, exotic looking turtles, like weird shaped. And one of them was walking over to my right, you know, into the little flower beds. There were flower beds. And then I started walking. I think I saw at least 2 turtles. At least 2. Could have been more. And then, so I started walking. And like I say, there was kind of like some flowers, you know, flower bed type of things. At least on the right side. I can't remember if they were on my left side, but they were on the right side. And like I say, this walkway was flooded. You know, not real deep water, but like 3 inches, 3 or 4 inches. And so anyway, over to my right, I saw 2 of the most exotic toads I've ever seen in my life. And this is not the first time they put huge toads or huge frogs or huge turtles in my scenarios. They do this all the time now. Okay, so anyway, okay, and also these 2 toads, they were like super large. They were like as big as about let me think. A grapefruit? Shit. They were about as big as like 2 grapefruits. You know, they're pretty damn large. But they were the most exotic looking things I've ever seen. Like one of them like had like bright red on it, like bright red marks and bright orange. Red and orange. And like I said, I've never really seen toads like that in real life. I'm not sure if that one is a legit exotic looking toad, but I think it could be. I think some of them are pretty damn exotic looking. But this particular one, I don't know if there's ones out there that have like bright red and bright orange. There was no other colors. I mean, it was just like, there could have been some brown, but they were just so beautiful, so exotic, and they were very, very large. And like I say, the turtle, there were strange things about the turtles, the 2 turtles that I saw. Like I say, they were much larger, and their shape was really odd. It wasn't like a normal turtle. It was a little odd. Like it wasn't quite, you know, oval or round like a normal turtle shell. And it was also a lot bigger than just a normal 3-toed box turtle. Okay, so after that part, then all of a sudden, Joel decides to give me lessons in using my mind and astral traveling. You know, just astral traveling back and forth. In between this walkway and the buildings, like the buildings over to my left, the buildings over to my right. I started, you know, going airborne, and then I started using my mind like, okay, I want to spread out my, you know, my arms. And I just kept telling myself, okay, stay afloat, and then I just told myself what destination I wanted to go to, or how far I wanted to go to the left. And I astral traveled, you know, back and forth. It was a very short distance. This was short distances, like, because this was just in between, you know, this walkway and the tall buildings. But it's like he was giving me lessons or something. And this isn't the first time that he's done this either. And, you know, with the astral traveling and telling me, you got to tell yourself to stay afloat. Otherwise, you're going to start falling, and you're going to hit the ground. This isn't the first time he's done that. Okay, so anyway, so I did this at least 4, 5, 6 times. I mean, it was such a freaking blast. But when I astral traveled, you know, back and forth, I was no higher than just about 2 or 3 stories. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like just way up there. He has given me experiences before where I'm astral traveling like no telling how freaking high. But this was just, I was just like, probably like a story and a half in the air. And I first started flying over to my left, you know, about 50 yards. And then I came back over to my right about 50 yards. And like I say, I did that. I mean, I was just like flying. He knows I love to do this, and I do try to ask that a lot. Like, come give me an experience. I want to, I want to astral travel. I want to be flying in the air and shit. He knows I like doing that. But I did this like at least 4 to 6 times, like back and forth, at least 4 times, maybe 6. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I saw this other woman, and I can't really remember what she looked like now. I can't remember if she was actually in my classroom or not. But, in the training classroom that we were just in. But anyway, so all of a sudden, when I decided, after about the 3rd or 4th astral traveling, when I came back over, when I started flying over to my right, about, 1 or 2 stories up in the, about 2 stories up in the air, I saw this woman, and she was also astral traveling just like me. We were astral traveling at a high rate of speed, just a very slow rate of speed. I've astral traveled at many, many, many different speeds, but this was a very slow rate of speed. And so I grabbed her because I was like, okay, what will happen if I grab her? And so I grabbed her, and we just like slowly, when I grabbed her, we just slowly start dropping. And then we like hit the grass, but we hit the grass like a freaking feather. Because we were weightless. I mean, we were, there's no gravity when you're in these other dimensions. You're weightless. You're not physical. Well, it's still a physical environment, but, you're not really physical. So we were, when I was astral traveling, I mean, I felt light as a feather. But, they have the technology where they can make you feel, boom, heavy. Like that one experience where I hit the water, they made me feel heavy. But like, who knows? All these out-of-body experiences, like I say, the aliens have been giving them to me all my life. And, so who knows what's really real or whatever. But yeah, like most of the time, they don't make me feel heavy. Most of the time, they don't really make me, like feel heavy when I'm trying to astral travel. But they can. But, normally I feel light as a feather like I'm supposed to feel. When you're freaking in another dimension, non-physical dimension, when there's no gravity. You're like a freaking feather. And anyway, but for whatever reason, she did, because I grabbed onto her weight, it did make us fall, it made us slowly fall to the ground. And we hit the ground, light as a feather. And then after that, as far as I remember, I was thinking, okay, well, that's not gonna work. And so then I went back up again in the air. And like I say, I did this at least 4 to 6 times, back and maybe a little more. It lasted quite a while, this whole astral traveling episode. Back and forth, flying in the air, back and forth. It was a total blast. Okay, so after that, okay, I'm trying to remember if I'm not forgetting anything. Okay. Okay, but anyway, these black women, they were so freaking... But like I say, the first thing I noticed of that one black woman was her skin. Because I never saw any black women with such awesome, exotic-looking brown color that was so flawless. It was so cool. Okay, so anyway, so then after all the astral traveling, in a short distance, in a confined area. Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. I was in a confined area when I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so anyway, so after the flying episodes, the astral traveling episodes, I started walking around this deserted, it was kind of like a deserted restaurant. There was like maybe 2 people, like 2 older people that was off in the corner, but there was hardly any patrons in this restaurant. And there was glass, glass everywhere, windows everywhere, windows, windows, windows. So you didn't really have any privacy. There were windows everywhere. But there was only like maybe 2 to 3 patrons in the whole restaurant. And I was just like walking around. And, well, so then, and for whatever reason, it was really weird. When I was in this restaurant, I felt like I was in Florida. but only when I was in this restaurant. Not the other parts. I was totally in the Crown Center area of downtown Kansas City. But when I was walking around this restaurant, for whatever reason, I totally felt like that particular part of the scene, I felt like I was in Florida. I don't know why. He just somehow programmed my brain to think all of that. But anyway, it seemed like I was looking for a bathroom, and they put bathrooms in my scenarios a lot. And I was by myself just wandering around, and then this is when he kind of starts doing the sexual stuff. But I can't elaborate because it would be embarrassing. But this time, surprisingly, he didn't turn me into a hermaphrodite. Because normally he'll always like control me to do all these sexual things, and then he'll like turn me into a hermaphrodite. And he's done that millions and millions of billions and Googles of times. I mean, billions and billions of times. But this particular time, like I say, I know his style well, and he repeats the same things over and over and over and over again. And like I say, he did not turn me into a hermaphrodite, and he didn't arouse me, even though he kind of made me do sexual things and stuff like that. But like I say, that last experience, a couple days after this, when I was like asking, will you come give me some sex? Will you come arouse me? I mean, he gave me what I wanted. It was amazing. Okay, so anyway, I'm trying to remember if there's any other parts. I don't think there is. But it's amazing what the aliens can do. I mean, it's awesome. But the astral traveling and flying in the air, like all weightlessly and stuff, that's something that I love doing. So that's something that I always try to ask for. I always try to like make it clear, you know. And like I say, they do give me a lot of awesome experiences like that. And it may just be flying around in a freaking warehouse. That one experience I have on here, the out-of-body experience where I was in the warehouse, oh, that was such a blast. Total blast. And I was confined to this really huge warehouse. But I can put that in the, I can put that video, or that link in this video. But, if I'm forgetting any parts, but that woman that I can't remember exactly what she looked like now. I can't remember if she was familiar to me or not, but yeah. So, but when I grabbed onto her, that was a lot of fun. And but if I'm forgetting any parts, I will put it in the comments. But yeah, this is a blast, man. I mean, I've had so many. I'm gonna have to I'll make some trailers, because some of these out-of-body experiences are such a blast. But like I say, this one was actually more. It was three. It was an out-of-body experience. It was virtual reality. It was 4 experiences. Astral traveling. It was all under a more lucid feeling dream state. It was. I can explain all the differences later, but that's probably one of the reasons too why he didn't actually arouse me. Like he made me do sexual things, but I didn't really get aroused because it was just I don't know. That part was at a more artificial level. But this tornado was like total virtual reality. The astral traveling was total virtual reality. But like I say, the sex stuff, I guess it was more at an artificial level, and so it just depends on how real they make it. They can make it, totally real, or they can make it just more shitty feeling and artificial feeling. But anyway, that was my experience to downtown Kansas City, the Crown Center area. And actually, right in that area, they have that big, tall restaurant where the restaurant revolves. And I think, anyway, it's really close to this Crown Center, that big, tall restaurant, as far as I remember. But, yeah, I mean, they go off your brain, and they're going to, whatever you do in your reality, they're going to throw all of that in your scenario. So somebody else, if they become attuned to their experiences, theirs are going to be totally different. I mean, if they like have a job in computers and they work in Boston, I mean, they're going to throw all of that. You know, oh, they're going to place you in Boston and then, you know, and make you do all this shit with computers. Well, I hate computers, so they don't do that shit to me. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, however complex your freaking brain is, that's the experiences they're going to give you. I mean, my brain is very freaking plain ass Jane, and I don't think all fucking complicated and shit. So they give me very, very, very easy experiences to understand. Because, like, I mean, you'll get some people, and they'll email me or whatever about their virtual reality experiences and shit. And it's like, what the fuck? And it's mostly men. I mean, it's mostly men. I mean, because, I mean, their brains are freaking different, very bot and technical. Yeah, all these, they were all men. He sent me these, oh, I had this experience, like, blah, 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 blah. But it was all based on their reality and their brains. Very mechanical, technical freaking brains. And, you know what I'm saying? Women aren't like that. Not like I'm being sexist or anything. Okay, well, thanks for listening. God damn, this motherfucker. Thanks for listening to my Reptilian Abduction by Joel. That was fun though, man. This, like I said, it's been a while since they've given me a tornado experience. Thanks for listening.